What's up, peeps? Episode 14 here, and if you hear like a squeaky fart noise, that is not a fart. That's got the new office chair in here from Goodwill, and it kind of rubs up against the wall. So I'm not trying to fart on the podcast at all. So I don't know why it's squeaky, but as you can hear, it kind of squeaks. So what's up, episode 14? We're here. Let me get on this chair squeaking all the time. Sorry. Episode 14, we're here. What's been up since the last time? Nothing? Okay. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about what I've been thinking about lately, and I forgot to tell you guys last time. So, what was it last? It was probably 2 weeks ago. My brother and his wife and their cousins, and then Christy and we all went to a roller dome. And I hadn't been to a roller dome and probably since 6th or 7th grade, probably 5th, 6th, 7th grade. Because in our hometown, and many of you remember this place, the Black Hawk Roller Dome. Drome. Is it a drome or a dome? I don't know. Dome, maybe Black Hawk Roller Drome. So yeah, I haven't been to a roller drome or dome in a long time. And so this was our first time going to the roller drome. And what was that time? Oh yeah, we've been hitting up the Goodwills like I told you, and me and Christy both originally, let's back up. Long time ago, I was watching the Caesar Milan TV show, and Caesar would always rollerblade with the dogs. And I was like, oh, dude, that'd be so nice because the dogs can just pull you and you can just be on your rollerblades and, like, just cruising down the street. You don't have to do much. And, like, that's how he walks his dogs in the show, like, in the intro music. So I was like, oh, I really want to get some skates, some rollerblades, so I can take Walt on, like, walks and stuff and, like, just be, like, rollerblading down the street, like, walking Walt as he runs. So I was looking at like Dick's Sporting Goods and all those places, and they're like $100 for like new skates, which is fine. It's okay, yeah. I almost got a pair, but then kept on going to Goodwill. Wasn't really looking out for skates, but there and behold, brand new pair of skates for the most part. My size for about $12. So I got a brand new pair of skates. This was probably 3 weeks ago or something like that. Anyways, got a pair of skates, and then a few weeks later, we were at Goodwill, and we found Christy a pair of, like, literally brand new rollerblades for, I don't even remember how much, $20. So we both got skates. So long story short, we both get skates. We haven't really broken them in that much around here. So we go to this roller dome. I'm going to look it up quick. Roller dome. Anyway, it's a skating rink, like not an ice skating rink, but an indoor roller derby or dome. Roller dome, I think. Roller dome. Yeah, I think it's the roller. I mean, you can call it whatever. I'm gonna call it the roller dome. Anyways, we go to the roller dome, and it's like straight blast from the past, nostalgia, back in the roller dome. So we brought our skates, and we all did the roller dome, and it was like this giant, the wooden floors and like the music and the speakers, but it was organ night, and you can't really get down to skating with organ music too much. I mean, it was a live performance. There was a guy doing the organ, so I would say he's playing the organ. Anyways, but it was kind of like a creepy, like Stranger Things opening scene vibe there, because it was like in this old amusement park that's not open yet because it's not summer. But yeah, like all the lights are on, all the rides are out, and then there's like the weird hot dog stands that aren't open and all that, like all the games you'd see at a regular amusement park, but it's just like abandoned. And there's like a roller dome in the middle of it. So we go there, and I haven't been to a roller dome, like I said, probably since 5th or 6th grade. I don't know what year it got flooded back home, but whatever year it was, have very fond memories of it, and so does Christy, because she went with her grandma all the time. And Anyways, this place was cool. It was really nice. The floor was nice. There's a bunch of like older people straight up dancing and twirling, and like in my mind, all I was thinking is, wow, you guys are so close to a new hip replacement. Because I hang out with old people all the time that can't even walk to the restroom, get up out of bed, blah, blah, blah. And to see some old people, I mean, we're talking probably late 60s, like ballroom dancing, like while skating, like in between kids and like all that stuff. So that was pretty neat to see. But in my mind, I was like, man, if you take a tumble, like you're gonna get a new hip. So that was pretty cool, I thought. So yeah. Oh, and like what we remembered most, me and Christy were talking, was when you went to the roller dome, and it was like, I think we had maybe 1 or 2 nights a year at the roller dome, like for school, and it was like, okay, like elementary school, they didn't have dances and like grinding and stuff like that yet because you were in elementary school. Um, but you had the roller dome. And when you had the roller dome, it was like on a Friday night, everyone was getting crunk, Mountain Dew, like 12 packs of Mountain Dew, and like having sleepovers. And like you go to the roller dome and you get your skates. It was like $3 or $4, and you get your skates, and your mom would give you a few extra dollars, so you get those sour Twizzlers, the sour like the long string Twizzlers that you'd suck on. They're like super sour, and they're like just string Twizzlers with sour on them. Anyways, yeah, you get those with all your friends, and you go around there, and it'd be like all the cool music, and there'd be like a huge TV in the way back, and it'd be all dark and lights and stuff like that. And it was really cool, and yeah, that's what I just remember most about that kind of time growing up. And everyone from school was there. Everyone in your class is there. All them girls were in the class. They were there, and you'd be like, oh, I can't wait to maybe, probably not, but maybe ask someone to do the moonlight dance. And the moonlight dance was like the partner dance, like the slow dance, but like in the roller dome. So you like kind of take you on the moonlight dance. Could be like, find a partner, like another girl or someone else. And then the moonlight dance is coming up. So then you like, oh, I'm going to go ask someone. Then you never did, or at least I never did. I can't remember. I might have once. But and you'd be like, oh, man, if I don't have a date, I have to sit on like the siding around it and like watch everyone else hold hands while they like do like 3 laps. So that was kind of funny because when me and Christy were talking about that, we both like remembered the moonlight dance, and like, you know, you'd have your partner, and like it'd be so lame that you'd be like, oh man, I'm finally gonna ask my crush like if she wants to do the moonlight dance with me. And then it lasted like one song, so like 2 minutes. And then there was also like the cool thing where like all the kids, or like they'd be like, all right, just the ladies now. And all the girls would, like all the guys would go sit on this like sideline chairs, but the sideline chairs were still in the roller dome. Like they were still on the course, so you could like be catching whiff of whoever's running by you like on the rollerblades. And so like when the girls, it was like girls only dance, and like all the guys would like skeet over to the wall and like get in a huge line, and we all like put our hand out like this. And then when like all the girls from our class came by, they'd like high five us and stuff. And then you'd be like, oh my god, you know, Sandra gave me a high five, and that would make your night too. And then when the boys danced to it too, we'd always get like super fast and reckless and like crash into them and like, oh, I'm reckless. So that's what the difference is between the male and the female dances. The female dances, they're just like, yay, high fives. And the male dances, we just like go full speed and like crash into them and like, oh, I fell over, like Austin Powers. So yeah, that got me thinking of the roller dome, and yeah, getting those sour Twizzlers. I mean, everyone, if you weren't cool, you didn't have, you know, you weren't cool unless you had sour Twizzlers at the roller dome. And they had the purple, the green apple, and the strawberry, and probably the green apple was the most potent of them. as in terms of sourness. So yeah, I remember that. And then glow sticks. Yeah, you had to get a glow stick because they had glow sticks. And when like the lights were down and the lights were off, and you had your glow stick, you'd be like, "Oh, glow stick," and you'd be so cool because you had like a 25-cent glow stick. And I remember one time, I can't remember her name. Her name starts with Emily, but I can't remember her last name. But anyways, I think she like was chewing on it and it broke in her mouth, and everyone was like freaking out that she had to go to the hospital. But I don't really know what's in the glow stick, so I don't remember. She's fine now, I think. I don't know, but I just remember that. So don't eat the glow sticks. Was another thing. Yeah, it just brought back a lot of memories from childhood and thinking about childhood and like how cool it was. Like we didn't have phones back then. You're like, Mom dropped me off at 6:30 at the roller dome. We're gonna be done at 9, and that was it. And you partied at the roller dome, and they might have had a phone. I don't remember there, but yeah, you ate sour gummy Twizzlers, and you tried to ask the girl of your dreams at that time to hold your hand for a few laps during the slow dance, and just have a good time. So yeah, it was fun going to one. Maybe we'll have to hit it up again when we have friends and family over when they come visit, because it is kind of cool. It's only like $5, so definitely worth the trip down memory lane. But what else? Oh, I was thinking it's been really hot in Portland too. Like it's been mid 80s, I think, touching the tip of 90 degrees this past week here in Portland. So it's been nice, and I don't even remember the last time it rained. I mean, it might have rained at night for a minute one of these nights, but the last 2 weeks it's been sunny and it's been hot. Don't have AC here. We got a Vornado though. That's a tornado fan. So it circulates the air very well. But yeah, it's been really hot, and I was just thinking, and then someone at work, I don't remember how we started talking about country music, and I said to myself, the only time I really liked country music is when I was detasseling. And the people at work didn't even know what detasseling was. And if you don't know what detasseling is, it is when you pretty much do this to corn all day with both hands. And it could be considered sexual, or it could be considered like you're milking a cow. So, but it's down by your like waist high where you're doing that. So, yeah. So what detasseling is you get on a bus, and for those people in Oregon that haven't grown up around corn, you get on a school bus with some of your friends, a bunch of random people from small towns get bussed in, a bunch of kids younger and older than you, and the age group's pretty much, I think it was legal when you were 13 when I was doing it, up until, I don't know, the head guy was probably 60 something. I don't know. His name was Randy Tjaderade, and his real last name was Jaden, but it had a T in front of it, so I call him Tjaden. So shout out to Randy Tjaderade, or Randy Jaden Detasseling. And so pretty much you got on the bus at 6:15, whatever time you got on the bus, and then you traveled about anywhere from a half hour to an hour, and you travel to the middle of nowhere, Iowa. You park next to a cornfield. You get out in teams of 2 or 4, and you walk down the rows of corn, just popping out the tassels. And then there's 4. I don't remember if they're male corn or female corn, but there's 4 of one sex of corn, and then there's 1 row of the other sex. So there's 4 males, 1 female, and the female or the male, whichever one it is, they keep the tassel, and then the other 4 rows don't. So it's like kind of like racing lanes. So it's like 4 short ones, one tall, surrounded by one tall. So anyways, you get in teams of 4, 2, and they're not really teams because you're just working, but And you walk down. You can pick any team you want, and you walk down the row, just popping out the tassels. And so you do that, and if you do that for a while, and when you get there in the morning, it's usually very wet because all the condensation and all the dewy ooey comes down at night and makes the corn wet. So in the morning, you're soaking wet. It's cold. You're soaking wet. You're just walking through corn, and then sometime in the day, the sun comes out. Hopefully, usually, most of the time, 98% of the time, it comes out, and you get super hot and dry and itchy and just dry, and you're walking through dirt and cornfields with the sun blazing and like buzzards flying around you because they know you're halfway from dead. So that's pretty much detasseling. And you do that from 6 a.m. time you leave, and you get home anywhere from noon to 6:37 at night, depending on the day, depending on the job. And you pretty much do, depending on the field, you'll do 2, 3, 4 fields a day with your crew, head back, and it's about a 2-week process. So I think I did it for maybe 4 years, and you always got a fat bonus at the end if you went every day. If you didn't miss a day of detasseling, which was usually roughly 10 days to 14 days, you got a $1 bonus for every hour you worked. Roughly worked about 100 hours, and you're getting paid pretty good for a kid. I mean, you're getting paid $12 to $15 as a kid. As a 13, 14, 15-year-old, that's a lot of money. And then you add in that $1 bonus, and you're balling. So that's how we made money as kids before we could actually get jobs. But even when you had jobs, it was nice in the summer to get that detasseling money. But where was I going with this? So, yeah, I was talking at work about country music. Somehow, if anybody liked it, no one did. And then I said, the only time I like country music is when I was detasseling. So, just because the most, I mean, all you do is sit in the bus. I mean, you're probably driving around from field to field, probably good 3-4 hours a day. Spent in the back of a school bus with 50 other people, and they just blare the country music. So that always is burned into my mind whenever I hear country music. The only time I really enjoyed it was when I was in the back of a bus, when I was in my early teens during detasseling, and we were all just beat red from the sun, worn out, living off like snack packs and Gushers and all that good stuff, and waking up early, having sunburned farmer's hand. And that just reminds me of that time because, I mean, the amount of time we spent in the buses, you knew all the songs, and a lot of people sung along, and it was a lot of fun. So anyways, that got me thinking again about detasseling, and shout out to Randy Tjaderade, or Randy Jaden as they call him. If you've never had Tjaderade, and we all know what Tjaderade is, the kids that we grew up with, it's kind of like Gatorade, but Randy Tjaderade style. So what Tjaderade is the big, like the orange coolers that the football coaches get doused with. We had those at every they carried like a water truck that followed the buses, and they had 20 of those bad boys in there full of water. That way no one's passing out or getting the heat stroke. And then what else? So they'd have those. And then like every day, if it was really hot, the big packs of Gatorade that you rip open, they look like big laundry detergent like bags. Yeah, so you'd rip the bag open and pour it in the Gatorade and stir it and do all that. Well, Randy Jaden, he had Tjaderade, which was one of those coolers that I'm not sure has ever been cleaned out the whole time we were working. So it had dust, and the spigot was, stuck in the mud and squirting out dirty water, and probably but just filled with a farm hose probably the whole time we were there. Anyway, so he'd bust out a fresh Gatorade jug, a whole Gatorade jug, and he'd rip off the tab on the Gatorade, pour in the dry powder of Gatorade, and then this is the best part, because it's Tjaderade. He'd get about, I don't know, he'd get probably at least elbow deep, and he was a big man. He was probably 6'1", 6'2", so he'd get at least elbow deep. And I don't. This was before they had hand sanitizer too, so I don't think he used hand sanitizer or anything like that. I mean, there was porta potties, but I don't remember if there was hand sanitizer was invented back then. This would have been in 2003, so 2004ish. Anyway, so picture like a 60-year-old guy recovering from skin cancer on his nose, and think of him putting his sweaty, like a whole day's work into his right hand. Probably pissed in the cornfield for 20, all day, did whatever, wiped with his hand, whatever he did. Didn't probably clean it with any antiseptic or hand sanitizer. He goes elbow deep and just stirs the Gatorade like it's his arm is the stick. So you got the sweaty, I think he wore gloves too most of the day. So, his fingernails were just entrapments for dirt. And he just mixed up the Gatorade. The lemon was the best because the sweat mixed in with the lime and it was kind of salty and sweet. So the lemon and the lime flavors are really good. So he'd be stirring it and he'd just like... and kick off the extra Gatorade. And then we had this was another good part about Tjaderade too, is we had plastic cups, we didn't, there was probably 10 plastic cups and they'd all just float at the top of the Gatorade jug. And you'd pick it up and dip your hand in there, pull out the cup, drink from the cup, and then you'd put the cup back in the Tjaderade. And then the next person with dirty fingers and dirty hands would grab the cup, scoop it up like a ladle and like drink out of it. And these are like the little plastic, they weren't Dixie cups because those are like what you use for mouthwash, but they're like a step up, like probably 8 ounces. So yeah, they had about 5, 6, 7, 8 cups in the Tjaderade, and you just got your drink and put the cup back in. So that's Tjaderade. So that's always funny because thinking about how gross it was and stuff, but at the time you were just like, oh man, this Gatorade with mud and probably cow manure and some guy's arm sweat and hair that stirred it is probably pretty good. And it was good. It was always refreshing. So if you ever hear the term Tjaderade, now you know what Tjaderade is. It is the country version of Gatorade, made with blood, sweat, and tears, and made by hand, truly. So long story short, the conversation about country music led to detasseling, which led to Tjaderade. Oh, and then also the best part about detasseling was you'd always have food fights on the bus. So you'd always bring a little extra food for the day, obviously. And then by the time like you were heading home, you were kind of like down to your like healthy snacks that you didn't really want to eat, but you only had those just in case you were hungry. So you were down to your healthy snacks or your pudding packs or your Jello packs, your standard junior high lunch. And then we do food fights on the bus, and we always sat in the back. We always claimed the back because it was furthest from the driver. So we'd always fight with food and throw stuff, and those seats were just disgusting. And mind you, all the mud that you track in over those 2 weeks just gets caked on the floor. And I don't think they clean it until like probably after we're totally done. So you got 2 weeks worth of mud and food scraps, and you got snack packs like crusted onto the ceiling, like them chocolate pudding packs crusted everywhere. So that was a lot of fun. So I definitely recommend Randy Jaden detasseling because 1, you get paid pretty well. 2, you get to have food fights, which you don't get to at school. And it's always been a dream of most kids. And you won't get in trouble really, necessarily. 3, you get the Tjaderade. And that's about it. So that's the most refreshing beverage you can get as a teenager. And there's no alcohol in it either. It's just straight Tjaderade. So that got me thinking about that. What else? Yeah, that's about all I got. I'm talking to you right now, right as Rose Namajunas and Jessica Andrade, I think that's who she's fighting, are fighting. Just watched the Anderson Silva fight. He must have hurt his knee or something, and saw Jose Aldo lose. Looked kind of lacklustery. Saw Nate Diaz and Anthony Pettis are scheduled to fight. Yeah, a lot of good fights coming up. What else? Oh, the Blazers play tomorrow, Game 7. It is at 12:30 p.m., so it's an early game. 2:30 back in back in Iowa time zone. So Game 7 for the Blazers. It's an away game, but there's still a lot of buzz around the city. We're gonna go out tomorrow, go downtown, and they got a court and like a Rip City sign downtown, and like a bunch of cool stuff down there. So we're gonna go down there, and shouts out to the Portland Trailblazers. Hopefully they get a road win tomorrow and move on and play the Warriors, who won last night. So by the time you hear this, they'll probably have already won or lost depending on the score. But they'll still come out on Sunday morning. So trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, that's about it. I think that's all I got for you today. I just wanted to talk about the Rollerdrome, and that was a fun experience, and also talk about detasseling, because not everyone has detasseled before, and I think these stories of detasseling are always brought up in my friend group, but I think they should be cemented in virtual reality for eons and generations to enjoy. So yeah, a lot of fun with the detasseling. I mean, you just have to try it for yourself. And I think you can, because they do hire anybody, I think. But it'd be a little weird working with kids. But yeah, there's always some like, I remember for a couple of years, there was always this older like blonde chick. She was probably 18 or 19. And like she sat at the front of the bus and like always hung out with the older, like the dudes that were like chaperoning pretty much. And just because she was like the hottest chick there and like the closest one to 18 probably. So I always thought that was kind of strange, but always kind of jealous that she got like front row seats and stuff too, and like got a ride in the truck from corn shed to corn shed. We all know what happened probably. So yeah, a lot of interesting dynamics when you're handed over to detassel. Now that I think about it, yeah, just out in the middle of a cornfield. So give it a try though. It's coming up in July, so a couple months, still probably time to get signed up. This is not an advertisement for Randy Jaden Detasseling. I have no idea if he is still doing the damn thing or not, but thought it was a fun story to tell you. And if you have any fun stories about detasseling or going to the roller dome or anything cool like that, throw them in the comments or bring them up, and we'll chat about them, guys. So I think that's it for episode 14. We're coming up on 28 minutes, so not that I need to do anything in particular, but I want to keep them short so you guys can get through them kind of in a short drive to work or something like that. So that's all I have for you guys today. Episode 14 is a wrap. Go Trailblazers. As always, subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram. Where are we on? SoundCloud, iTunes, easy. I'm going to work on the Spotify, trying to get the podcast on the Spotify. Honestly, I haven't looked at it yet, but I did have one person reach out and say you should get it on Spotify, so I'll try and do that. I'm sure there's a YouTube video on how to do that as well. So give me a like, give me a subscribe, Facebook, Instagram. I think I'm on Twitter. I don't really use it much, but been streaming on Twitch a little bit. Half the story on Twitch, just playing Fortnite. So I'll do that a few times a week just for fun, just hanging out with the bros. But that's all I got for episode 14, guys. Go Blazers, and I will see you next week. Adios.